Refer the orthographic views and draw isometric view of the object. Now watch here, front view and top view are given. First thing, you are going to check where is point O to select orientation of width axis and length axis. Out of these two axes which are at 30 degrees, which axis is width axis? Simple. In front view, point O is given on the right side. So right side axis is width axis and left side axis is length axis. Now check overall dimensions. In top view and also in front view, you get horizontal dimension and length. But right now we are interested in overall dimension. So overall length 40 plus 65 plus 25. 25, that is a radius of this curved edge. 40 millimeters, that is radius of this semicircle. This distance radius is 40 millimeters. So 40 plus 65 plus 25, that is 130 millimeters. 130 millimeter is length. Width, in the top view, vertical dimension is width. Width is 64. Height of the object is 40 millimeters. So height 40 and width 64. With these three dimensions, we'll construct a rectangular box. Width to be measured in this orientation, check. So draw a horizontal reference line to measure that angle 30 degrees. Let this be point O, where you are going to measure angle 30 degrees for length and width axis. So measure 30 degrees and 64 millimeter width we have measured in this direction, and also on the other side at an angle 30 degrees. Draw length. Now set a roller with the width line and complete that rectangular base in this way. So this is how we have constructed base. Now draw height axis. So at O, draw a vertical edge for this box. And from all four corners, now there must be vertical edges. So use roller to draw parallel lines in this way. But height of the object is 40 millimeter. So measure 40 millimeters. Take that distance in compass and mark 40 millimeter from each corner vertically, so that you get vertical edges of the box and join all those points at the top. So this is how we have constructed a rectangular box of overall dimensions of this object. Watch here. This is length of the box, height of the box 40 and width of the box 64. So the same box in front view and in top view I have shown. Now parallel to width, this arrow suggests you front side of the object. So this is front surface, this is back surface, this is the right side surface, and here it is left side surface, base surface and top surface. Now listen, in isometric view, out of 6 sides, front, back, top, bottom, right, left, 3 sides are visible, 3 sides are hidden. Always the front and top are visible, and by choosing O on narrow side, we select whether right end to be shown in isometric view or left end to be shown in isometric view. Now here point O is on the right side, that is how we have shown right end of the object. So right side is visible, front side is visible and top side is visible. Now identify parts. So there is a semi-cylinder, in fact it is hollow semi-cylinder, but initially don't worry about holes and slots. There is a semi-cylinder and there is a U-shaped plate. This strip here suggests you that there is a plate, and largest surface of this plate is appearing in the top view, and it is a U-shaped plate. It has a hole, circular hole. Right now don't worry about hole. Remember what I am telling you. Initially don't worry about curved edges, non-principal edges, holes, slots. Just focus on overall dimensions of each part of the body now. So semi-cylinder and U-shaped plate. Let's check overall dimensions for the semi-cylinder. This is that semi-cylinder. Its length is nothing but diameter of semicircle. It is 80 millimeters. Radius is 40, so diameter is 80. So 80 millimeter length. Length is not length of the cylinder. Length is dimension parallel to length axis. So that is 80, height 40, and width. Check here. Draw end projectors, and you will get length 80 in the top view and width 64. So this red colored box we are going to draw here. This is on the left side of the entire object, and on the right side there is a U-shaped plate. So what are the dimensions for the U-shaped plate? Check here. First of all, as if it is a rectangular plate, you are going to draw its views. So its length is, overall length is 130. 130 minus 80. That is 50 millimeter length, 15 millimeters height. And what is width of this? Width of this U-shaped plate is 64. No. Width of this U-shaped plate is equal to diameter of this semicircular edge. And how much it is? Radius 25, so diameter is 50. So length 50, width 50, and height 15. Now let's focus on this red colored box. It is for semi-cylinder. Width of this box is 64. We have already measured. So throughout the length, width is 64 here. Height 40. Height of this box is 40. So width and height is not to be measured. Only length 80 millimeter to be measured. And that is a parallel to length. Length to be measured, of course, parallel to length axis, 80 millimeters. And it is on the left side. This is left side. So from left side, 80 millimeters. So check, I measured 80 millimeters. This is of course 64, then again 80, and this is how we have completed the rectangular base. 80 millimeter length, 64 millimeter width. From each corner of the base, draw vertical edges of length 40 millimeters and join top ends of those vertical edges. We need not measure the height because height we have already measured. So clearly now you can see the box. In this box we are going to fit this semi-cylinder. Okay, there is U-shaped plate. Now what is length of U-shaped plate? Length is 50, width is 50, and height is 15. So with these dimensions we are going to draw box here. But it is to be placed symmetrically along its width. Width of the box is 50. 64 minus 50, that is 14. So we'll have to leave 7 millimeter from front end and 7 millimeter from back. So to measure this width 50 millimeter parallel to width, we'll leave 7 millimeter from front. Parallel to width, we'll leave 7 millimeter from front. So measure 7 millimeter here and draw this edge that has length 50 millimeters. So you need not measure 50 millimeters because you have already measured here 80, remaining length is 50 millimeters. So up to the right end this edge will be. So this is the length of the object. Width is 50. Then again length and width 50. This is how we have completed the base. From all four corners of the base, draw vertical edges each 15 millimeter and join top ends. Join top ends of this vertical edges 15 millimeter long and you will get the top surface. This is major work. I say that 50% of the work is over because now it's simply to give shapes to the surfaces. So let's proceed. We are now going to give shape to this surface. What is shape of the surface? It is semicircular surface. So we'll have to draw this semicircular edges. If you don't know 4 center method to draw isocircle, go through the video which I have already uploaded on isocircle. Be sure that you have understood procedure of drawing isocircle. Now watch here. We'll have to locate the center. So center is along the base at distance 40 millimeters from left end. So along the base 40 millimeters from left end. Remember your focus is on this front surface. This front surface has semicircular edges and not straight edges. So this semicircular edge now we are going to draw. So we are using 4 center method. So first of all, you will have to locate the center of the semicircle. So it is 40 millimeter from left, and draw these center lines. One is parallel to height because it is front view. So this vertical center is parallel to height. Height is vertical in isometric view also. And this center line here, watch, this center line is a parallel to length, that is in this orientation. So on this surface, through the center, we are drawing this center line. So parallel to height at distance 40 millimeters and parallel to length. So these two center lines are available here. Now from the center, mark points on these center lines at distance 40 millimeters from the center. So this is the center. From the center 40 millimeters upwards. So already these lines are at distance 40 millimeters from the center. So this distance is 40. This distance is already 40 up to this edge of the red colored box. Then this distance is also 40. And now here we'll have to measure 40 millimeter distance. So this distance is 40 millimeters. Now draw lines parallel to center lines. And complete the rhombus. Now draw longer diagonal and shorter diagonal. So longer diagonal and shorter diagonal. Now try to understand. I have explained you in that isocircle video that isocircle in manual drawing is combination of 4 circular arcs, 2 longer arcs in this wider quadrants. Check the quadrants formed by these center lines. In the wider quadrants, you get longer arcs, and in other 2 quadrants you get shorter arcs. These 4 centers, where are those 4 centers? You must be sure about them. So 2 centers to draw longer arcs, centers are in diagonally opposite quadrant. So if you want to draw arc here, center is here. And if you want to draw arc on this side, center is here. So ends of shorter diagonal are the 2 centers. And then you join one end of shorter diagonal, any one end, with midpoint of opposite edges. Then the intersection you get on the longer diagonal, those intersection points are the other 2 centers. Watch here what I am telling you. So here I have joined this end of the shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edge. You can join on this side also, but remember, we are not drawing the entire circle. We are drawing semicircle. So for entire circle, 2 longer arcs, 2 shorter arcs. But for semicircle, 1 longer arc, 1 shorter arc. 1 longer arc, 1 shorter arc. So in this portion, this is that surface which is semicircle. So here you will get a longer arc. And where is center of the longer arc? In diagonally opposite quadrant. So here, end of shorter diagonal. And center of shorter arc is in the same quadrant. So here it is. It is point of intersection on the longer diagonal. So this is how you draw those arcs. So semicircle we have completed. Now check here. Identical semicircular edge is on the back side also. This is front side. So on the back side also. So this semicircle you can shift. What is the width? 64. So back side, from front side, back side is at distance 64. So shift this semicircle 64 millimeters and measure that 64 millimeter distance parallel to width. So how to do that? Try to understand. Shift first of all centers. Check what I am doing. So this center I have shifted 64 millimeters. Check it. So now this center I have shifted 64 millimeters and it is here. Similarly, set roller with 30 degrees line, and from this point draw a line at an angle 30 degrees. Similarly, roll roller further and draw this line also. Why? Try to understand. We want to shift this center 64 millimeters along width. That's why you must know, you must have a line parallel to width, and on this line measure 64 and shift the center. So this center also we have shifted 64 millimeters. And this highest point we have shifted here because start and end of this longer arc must be available here. So without any confusion you will able to draw longer arc. Now from the shifted center with the same radius of this longer arc, but from the shifted center you draw an arc. Because this edge is on the back side, only visible portion you are going to make dark. That is why initially I have drawn this arc very thin. Now center of this smaller arc also you have shifted 64. And from corner of the front surface to the highest point on the front surface, this is how we have completed this arc. Similarly here also we have already transferred this highest point here. So from corner of this backside surface to the highest point you are going to draw that arc. So use the same radius, that is radius of this smaller arc, take it in compass, and from this shifted center draw that. So this is how we have completed the semicircular end on the back side. Now set a roller with 30 degrees line parallel to width and draw common tangent to these semicircular ends. So this is boundary generator. It is semi-cylindrical surface and it is boundary generator. Now from this point where this straight dark line is tangent to the semicircle on the back side, from that point the portion which is at boundary you are going to make dark. And this portion is hidden because it is on the back side and also on the left side. Back side and left side are hidden there. So the portion at the top which is at boundary you are going to make it dark in this way. Also notice that this longer arc, small portion of the longer arc here also I have not made it dark because it is behind this plate. Okay. Now this semi-cylinder has a semicircular slot also. So its semicircular opening we are going to draw here on the front side. And opening on the back side is hidden. You need not draw that. We don't show hidden details in isometric view. So here let's complete the semicircular opening. So what is the radius? Radius is 25 millimeters. Center lines are already available here. So from the center, along the center line, this is how. So this is how we have marked points at distance equal to radius from center on these center lines. Now draw lines parallel to the center lines and complete that rhombus in this way. Now longer diagonal. So longer diagonal, it overlaps with the longer diagonal of bigger rhombus we have already drawn. And shorter diagonal. Now you know that for complete isocircle, ends of shorter diagonal are the two centers. And when you join one end of shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edges, so this end we can join with the midpoint of opposite edge here and also with midpoint of opposite edge here. But since we are not interested in drawing entire isocircle, we just want to draw semicircle. So longer arc center is in the diagonally opposite quadrant and that is end of shorter diagonal of this smaller rhombus. And for smaller arc, you join one end of shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edge on this side so that you get the center, and from that center draw smaller arc. So this is how we have constructed the opening. Now you are going to draw these two edges to complete that semicircular strip, that is front end of the semi-cylinder. Remember, a corner is formed by three edges. So from this corner there must be edge. This is front side and this semi-cylindrical slot runs from front to back, and from front to back therefore there are edges here. So front to back means parallel to width. Parallel to width there must be an edge. So set roller with width axis and draw that edge. you should not draw this edge from front to back because only the visible portion to be shown. So through the opening, the portion which is visible, that you are going to show. Also from this corner, there must be an edge parallel to width, but this edge is only 7 millimeter long. So draw that 7 millimeter long edge. Now we'll draw U-shaped plate. Now this U-shaped plate, its top surface has U shape. Now how we construct any shape? I have told you earlier. If you want to construct a shape, first curved edges, then principal edges, and finally non-principal edge. Now here there is a curved edge. It is semicircular edge. So we'll have to use again the same 4 center method. That is, we'll have to construct a rhombus first. So let's do that. Look at the center lines. Top surface. Focus on the top surface of the plate. On this top surface, draw these 2 center lines. Now this semicircular edge is in the top view. That means this center line is parallel to length axis, because in the top view horizontal axis is length axis and width axis is vertical. So this vertical center line in isometric view, it should be parallel to width axis. This is very important. Now from right end at distance 25 millimeters, parallel to width center line is, and this center line is axis of symmetry, that is joining midpoint of this 50 millimeter edge. So this 50 millimeter edge, its midpoint, and here its midpoint, you join so that you get parallel to length axis. So this is parallel to length axis, and then this center line is ready now. From right end, extreme right end of the surface, measure 25 millimeters parallel to length. So measure 25 millimeters parallel to length and then draw this center line parallel to width this way. To draw the center line, first measure 25 millimeters here and set roller with 30 degrees line, roll it to draw this line. So get those center lines. Now what is the procedure? From this center, mark points on the center lines at distance equal to radius. And what is radius? 25. But from center at distance 25, you already have this line. From this center at distance 25 millimeter, you already have this line. So all these are 4 lines are there present. That is, rhombus is present. Just draw longer diagonal and shorter diagonal. Now in which 2 quadrants you are not drawing entire circle here. This outer edge is semicircular edge. So one shorter arc and one longer arc. Longer arc and shorter arc. So center of longer arc is in the diagonally opposite quadrant, and where it is? End of shorter diagonal. So this point is center of longer arc. And you want to draw smaller arc in this quadrant. So its center is in the same quadrant. And how to get that? Join one end, any one end of shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edge of the rhombus. So this end we have connected with midpoint of opposite edge. By doing this, you have created point of intersection on longer diagonal. So this point is center of the smaller arc. Now let's draw those arcs. Longer arc and shorter arc. So this is how we have completed the semicircular edge. Now top surface is U-shaped surface. Similarly, base surface is also U-shaped. This is U-shaped plate. So it has top and base surface U-shaped. So the semicircular edge will have to transfer downwards. Now how to transfer? Transfer, that is shift centers downwards. The way we shifted centers here 64 millimeter to draw that edge on the back side, similarly here also. Now let's focus on the longer arc. Its center is here. So shift it 15 millimeter downwards. So center now we have shifted 15 millimeter downwards because this arc we want to draw 15 millimeters below. Now not only the center, it's better to shift ends of the longer arc. So this is how ends of the arc also we have transferred downwards. And now from shifted center, this is how you can complete the arc. I have drawn it directly dark because this arc is on the visible side. Right side is visible, front side is also visible. That is why I have made it dark. This entire circle is the top surface. That is why this entire semicircle is top surface of U-shaped plate. That's why this entire semicircular edge I have made dark. Now when we draw this smaller arc, some portion of the smaller arc will be on the back side, and that's why hidden. So don't immediately draw this smaller arc dark on the lower surface. Now how to draw this smaller arc? Shift its center. Check here, center. I've shifted by distance 15 millimeters. All these pink colored line are 15 millimeters vertically. So this point I have transferred 15 millimeter downwards. Center of smaller arc I have transferred 15 millimeter downwards. Not only that, ends of this arc. So one end is common for longer arc and shorter arc, and though that end we have already transferred 15 millimeters downwards, and now this end also will transfer 15 millimeter. So from shifted center, that is here, you are going to draw arc here. Its radius is same as the arc and the top surface, this smaller arc on the top surface. So check here, I have drawn this arc very faint. Now this surface is a semi-cylindrical curved surface. So you should draw its boundary. This is boundary of curved surface. That is boundary generator. It is called boundary generator. So here I have drawn the boundary generator, and now only the boundary portion of the smaller arc will make dark. And now where U-shaped plate meets semi-cylindrical surface, how to create that joint, try to understand. Identical curve, watch here, this longer arc, we are going to draw at distance 7 millimeter because that joint is at distance 7 millimeters. So how to shift this curve 7 millimeters? Simple. Check where is the center of this bigger arc. It is here. Now move that center 7 millimeters. 7 millimeters we have moved that center. And take the radius of this bigger arc in compass and draw arc here. Now we just want to create this joint here. We know that this joint is not a straight vertical line. It is joint on a curved surface. So draw small arc here. You need not draw unnecessarily very long arc. Just draw a small arc here. And now extend this straight edge up to the arc, so that length of the arc here, which appears as joint, you will understand. So this is how I have created the joint. Similarly now, from this point, take here, this edge we are going to draw it. This edge is here on the curved surface. If you draw projector, then that top surface meets the curved surface here. And that is why we'll have to extend this line up to the arc. Now this edge, it is 50 millimeter long edge. That edge from this corner we are going to draw it. This is that edge. And similarly this on the back side of this edge you can draw. This edge is parallel to length. So parallel to length I have drawn. And here this portion you make it dark. So this is how we have completed the U-shaped plate. What is very important, how to create that joint. Now we'll draw hole in the plate. So what is diameter of the hole? 25. How much is that radius? 12.5. So measure 12.5 from the center. You must be knowing the procedure. Center lines are already present. So measure 12.5. Take radius in compass 12.5, and from center at distance 25 millimeters on the center lines mark the points, and then draw rhombus by drawing lines parallel to center lines through these newly marked points. Check, I have constructed rhombus, and here we want to draw complete circle. So join one end of shorter diagonal. Longer diagonal and shorter diagonal are already present. So join one end of shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edges of this smaller rhombus. Now your focus must be on this smaller rhombus. Remember, in manual drawing, you are not allowed to erase all these construction lines. So don't erase the construction lines. Draw construction lines very, very faint. And only edge is dark. All other lines must be faint line. Only edge is dark. Okay. So here a rhombus, 4 centers. 2 centers are ends of smaller diagonal and the other 2 centers. When you join one end of shorter diagonal with midpoint of opposite edges of the rhombus, then you create points of intersection on longer diagonal. Those are the other 2 centers. Now use these 4 centers. Remember, longer arcs centers in the opposite quadrant end of shorter diagonal, and smaller arcs center in the same quadrant. To draw these arcs, we never use real center. So don't draw any arc through this real center. Check how we draw those arcs once again. And if you have any doubt about drawing this isocircle, then go through that video. It's about 15 minutes video. Go through that video in which I explained you manual drawing procedure of isocircle. So this is how we have completed the opening of the isocircle. And now there is opening of the hole on the top surface and similar opening on the bottom side. Since it is a thin pleat as compared to other dimensions, there is a possibility, I am saying possibility, that through this opening on the top surface, some portion of lower opening is visible. It's just a possibility. So how to check it? Try to understand. Identical isocircle is at the bottom here. So visualize that. Don't draw immediately. And you will realize that only that longer arc portion here will be visible, if at all it is visible. This longer arc, where is its center? That is end of shorter diagonal. Shift its center 15 millimeter downwards, because that opening is 15 millimeters. And from this shifted center, draw the longer arc here. If at all any portion appears inside the upper opening, then that portion of the arc you should make dark. So I made that small portion of the arc dark because it appears inside the opening. And this is how the drawing is complete. Thank you.